clean food that's ready when you are, no matter what your day holds. Daily Harvest. We take care of food so that food can take care of you. Go to dailyharvest.com and get started today.
With moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's, your plans can change in minutes. Your head wants to do one thing, but your gut says, not today. If your current treatment isn't working, ask your doctor about Entyvio. Entyvio acts specifically in the GI tract to prevent an excess of white blood cells from entering and causing damaging inflammation. Entyvio has helped many patients achieve long-term relief and remission. Infusion and serious allergic reactions can happen during or after treatment. Entyvio may increase risk of infection, which can be serious. PML, a rare, serious, potentially fatal brain infection caused by a virus, may be possible. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, experience frequent infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Liver problems can occur with Entyvio. Ask your doctor about your GI-focused mild just for ulcerative relief and remission within reach.
Let's do this. I need a legal yourself. Some legal tips, and we're connected with an actual attorney. News made for the real world.
I'm a third-generation candy maker.
It's so sustainable, and I don't have to deprive myself.
I taste candy every day for a living. If I can lose weight on News, so can you. Visit News.com and change your life for good.
My reputation was trashed online. I felt completely helpless. My entire career and business were in jeopardy. I called Reputation Defender.
Take control of your online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. Find out your online reputation today and let the experts help you repair it.
They were able to restore my good name.
Visit reputationdefender.com or call 1-877-866-8555.
No, there's no space there. Maybe you were here. I'm in this prescription. He's stuck in the drawer. I'm sorry. Oh, jeez.
Hi.
Kelly Clarkson.
Try waving.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna help you. All of this. Yeah, here you go.
Thank you.
Oh, I like that. That's a lot of storage.
Perfect.
You're welcome.
How did you do all this?
Wayfair. Speaking of dinner, what are we eating, guys?
A great therapist helped me improve my life dramatically. And they can do the same for you.
Get $100 off your first month of Talkspace therapy with coupon 100 for you.
Brought to you by Talkspace. Therapy for all.
New York City's overwhelmed hospital system just got some desperately needed reinforcements. The U.S. Navy medical ship Comfort has arrived with hundreds of medical staff and patient beds on board. CNN's Shima Prokopets is over at New York Harbor for us. Shima, how many patients will this floating hospital be able to treat, and how soon will it open?
Yeah, so the ship behind me should be able to take in about 1,000 patients, we're told. Obviously, this is a full hospital. There's an operating room. There's all sorts of equipment, 12 operating rooms. There's equipment aboard the ship. There are doctors and nurses and all sorts of staff that will help relieve some of the pressure that hospitals in the city are facing. It's within days we expect them to start taking in patients. And keep in mind, Wolf, of course, what's key about this is that they are not going to be taking patients who have coronavirus. That is still going to remain at the hospitals. Here, it's going to be who are not suffering they're going So it's really getting to a point where a lot of doctors and nurses are feeling that they're on the brink. They're on the brink. I spoke to a doctor today who told me, and I'm quoting her, that we are at the brink of not being able to care for patients. This is a doctor at Elm Hospital, which is really taking the brunt of it, taking in a lot of, certainly a lot of with people suffering from coronavirus. What's really significant there is the number of critical patients they have. Doctors, there are nurses that are caring for 30 patients in some cases won't. And it's only going to get worse, they say, Will.
Yeah, so sad indeed. All right, Shimon, thank you very much. As the coronavirus-related death toll in New York now surpasses 1,200, New York's governor says almost 10,000 people are currently hospitalized across the state. Even Miguel Marquez went inside a New York City hospital for an exclusive and truly remarkable look at how one facility is trying to handle this crisis. Miguel is joining us now live. What are you learning?
Yeah, sobering is what I can tell you. We were at Brookdale in Brooklyn, and a good day at the hospital that has plenty coming through the front door to keep them busy. Coronavirus is pushing this hospital right to the edge.
Every corridor, every ward, every inch of Brookdale Hospital Medical Center in Brooklyn now inundated with those suffering from COVID-19. What are you looking at on a daily basis? How difficult is this?
Well, this is a war zone. It's a medical war zone. This is pain, despair, suffering, and healthcare disparities.
Through Sunday afternoon, Brookdale said it had at least 100 confirmed cases of COVID-19 with nearly 80 awaiting confirmation. More than 20 people have died so far from the disease on top of its normal They say rising tide, uncertain how long it will rise, unsure this coronavirus won't sicken them as they struggle. What do you need right now?
We need prayer, we need support, we need gowns, we need gloves, we need masks, we need more vents, we need more medical space, we need psychosocial support as well. It's not easy coming here when you know that what you're getting ready to face.
The deaths here keep coming. While filming, another victim of COVID-19 was moved to the hospital's temporary morgue, a refrigerated semi-trailer parked out back. The hospital's regular morgue filled to capacity. How much room do you have in your morgue?
Usually we have around 20 plus comfortably.
And you've gone over that.
Going over that, and the state has been gracious enough to bring us apparatus to help keep families and keep the bodies in comfortable areas because we know
dedicated to victims of COVID-19. Plastic tarp taped to the ceiling, offering some protection and a bit of privacy. The intensive care unit filled nearly to capacity and sealed, so fewer doors and less traffic than usual comes and goes. This window is the only place where family members can watch their loved one inside the unit as they chat with them via cell phone. It's sometimes as close as they can get as COVID-19 takes another life. As grim as it is right now, Dr. Mollett expects it will get worse.
It could end at the end of the year. So this is why we're begging everyone not just to but also
Brookdale has one advantage. Hospital officials say it can do rapid testing for coronavirus on site, its own lab. Right now, up to 300 tests a day. They hope to get to 500 a day.
and right now we have about 52 specimens in there. We're about to that we're preparing success at the moment.
The hospital following Centers for Disease Control guidelines on who gets coveted tests. Patients admitted for possible coronavirus, healthcare workers showing symptoms, and symptomatic long-term patients. Each test a laborious and time-consuming process.
Very easy to make a mistake. Very easy, just from an extra milliliter of reagent. Once the mess up the entire batch, all the 52 specimens, we would have to start all over from the beginning.
ER doctors are used to stress. Dr. Millette says she has never experienced anything like this.
I don't really sleep that well at night. I worry about my family. I worry about my safety. I worry about my colleagues. I worry about what it's going to be the next time I come. I worry about if a family member is going to come and be a patient or forfeit to the coronavirus. I worry about a lot of things.
The disease, a marathon that healthcare workers alone cannot win or even finish.
It's not up to just only to the emergency department to pull through and make sure the service fine. This is a responsibility for everyone. It's not just us that have to
It's very clear we are in the first inning of a very, very long game. We just don't.
Some of the medical personnel you were dealing with.
Yeah, it was almost embarrassing. Faithful to us, as though we had arrived from another planet. They're like, that's the gear we want. We need to be in that sort of gear. That's what they should be. That's hooded, Vitech gear, the white stuff with the boots and the gloves, the goggles and the mask. They, I've heard from nurses who say that they're down to their last box of gloves. They with the doctor wearing a paper shroud for surgery.
Appreciate you being here. Yesterday I announced that we would be extending our social distance guidelines through the end of April. This is based on modeling that shows the peak in fatalities will not arrive for another 2 weeks. The same modeling also shows that by very vigorously following these guidelines, we could save more than 1 million American lives. Think of that, 1 million American lives. Our future is in our own hands, and the choices and sacrifices we make will determine the fate of this virus and really the fate of our victory. We will have a great victory. We have no other choice. Every one of us has a role to play in winning this war. Every citizen, family, and business can make the difference in stopping the virus. This is our shared patriotic duty. Challenging time ahead for the next 30 days. This is a very vital 30 days. We're sort of putting it all on the line this 30 days. So important because we have to get back. But the more we dedicate ourselves to the more America side of the crisis. And that's the time we're waiting for. The more we commit ourselves now, the sooner we can win the fight and return to our lives, and they will be great lives, maybe better than ever. Today we reached a historic milestone in our war against the coronavirus. Over 1 million Americans have now been tested, more than any other country by far, not even close, and tested accurately. And I think what I'd like to do is ask Secretary Azar, who's done a fantastic job, to come up and just say a few words about the fact that we reached substantially now more than 1 million tests. Please. Thank you, Alex.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership that marked all the 4 years of incredible unprecedented testing. And thank you, Mr. Vice President, for leading a whole of economy. As the President mentioned today, the United States has more than 1 billion samples tested, a number that no other country has reached. We're now testing nearly 100,000 samples a day, also a level that no other country has reached. I want to thank every partner that has been involved in this effort. That includes all of the men and women of the FDA and the CDC, including Director Redfield and Commissioner Hahn. Together, the FDA and CDC have worked to balance the need for testing on an aggressive scale with the scientific rigor that Americans expect. Working with our testing coordinator, Admiral Giroir, they have now truly unleashed the ingenuity of the private sector and our state and local leaders, the centerpieces of America's historic approach to testing. I want to thank those state and local leaders who have used their on-the-ground resources and knowledge to lead testing and make it much more easily accessible to the Americans who need it. I'm also grateful to FEMA, with whom we're now working closely to get state and local partners what they need. I also want to thank CMS, where Administrator Verma has given healthcare providers unprecedented flexibility to scale up capacity for testing and treatment and has ensured that tests will be paid for. Finally, we would not be where we are today without the many American companies, entrepreneurs, and scientists who have worked day and night to develop, as of today, 20 different emergency testing options. With the FDA responding to requests for authorization typically within 24 hours, the number of options is growing nearly every day. FDA has also opened up new options for using the available tests, like self-swabbing, and new options for reagents. I also want to thank FDA and other components of HHS for incredibly rapid action on other tools that we need. This weekend, we actually worked to secure 30 million tablets from Sandoz and 1 million tablets from Bayer of hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine, which are potential COVID-19 treatments, and we authorized the new defense decontamination machine, which can sterilize thousands of 95 now. So thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership, and thank you to everybody who played a part in getting us here.
I'd like to ask Dr. Honda from some really good stuff. First of all, the numbers have been incredible on testing, but in the days ahead, we're going to go even faster. And something from Abbott Labs right here, and it's a 5-minute test. Highly accurate. And maybe can show that as we listen to our FDA commissioner, the job he's done, and the approval process. We talked about the chloroquine and the hydroxychloroquine just now. I thought that I'd mention it, but Alex has already done that. But we have that now under test with 1,100 people in New York, and it was only the fast approval by FDA that allowed us to do that. It was a really rapid approval. And Doctor, please say a few words. And this is the first one on the line of the 5-minute test from Abbott.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership. Thank you, Mr. Vice President, for your leadership of the task force. I'm very proud of FDA staff working the last few months to expedite the availability of testing in this country. I'm also incredibly appreciative of private industry's ingenuity and willingness to work with us quickly to develop and distribute those tests. We've had a substantial addition to testing with the authorization of point-of-care tests, especially the Abbott point-of-care test, which the President has pulled out of the box. A point-of-care test is a test that gives you a result where you're getting care. This is truly a patient-centered approach, whether it's the doctor's office, a hospital, an emergency room, an urgent care center, or a drive-by testing site. Just like tests for flu or strep, where you go to the doctors and get the test done, you can get an answer within minutes of having this test done. Now, with those tests being approved for Abbott and for others, these are available around the country. They're planning to scale up the number of tests that can be put out throughout the country. And then normally these tests take months to develop. I was on the phone today with the Abbott CEO.